All right, I think we're live.
Are we? We are
Yes.
indeed.
Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome everybody. So this is a whole new stream. I can't actually see everybody.
Hi, Arshad.
We will do our best. That is really our theme for the last year and a half, hasn't it?
It is welcome everybody, anybody. If you're here, you can start saying hello in the chat so we can see that you're here, because otherwise we have, hello, Laura. Otherwise we have no earthly idea what's going on out there.
Yeah. It's true.
It's pure chaos here, as it usually is at Convey Communications. So thank you for coming.
Awesome. Love to see it. Jesse Bacon, Cassandra, Destiny, loving it. Oh, now I'm just asking to mess up people's names too. Judy and Jeanette. Fantastic.
Any first timers here today? Netroots Nation first timers or Convey Communications first timers? You're in for a treat for the Vicki and Arshad show.
Truly, truly. And it's really Vicki and Arshad show to make sure that you put on a great show yourselves.
Oh, precisely. I forgot my earrings.
Oh, it's fine. Well, welcome everybody. I know it takes a few minutes for people to filter in, and sometimes we do little activities to introduce ourselves, but the format here doesn't really lend itself to that quite as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll just sort of lay out say some of the hellos, talk about what we're doing, lay out some expectations, and then we'll get started. What do you say?
I say yes. That's what I say.
Well, you're the only one I can hear out there, so I think
I know. We can't even talk to our fabulous room host, by the way, is Linda Underwood.
Yes.
And I'm typing her a little message now because I don't think she can hear me either. But it's fine. It's all good. I'm going to be a host tomorrow, so I don't know what to think. Oh, she can hear me. Great.
Yeah.
Linda?
Excellent. It's like having a little producer in your ear.
Could you bring the slides on stage, please? Oh, you guys, this is so much fun. And here they come. We are going to enjoy every moment of today because we're talking about your voice. Yes.
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 Go, Arshad.
You know, when we were first putting this together, we were talking about your voice, your voice, your voice. We mean it literally. You know, people will talk about voice like your grand voice, like my vote is my voice. And yes, but today we're going to talk about one of the most critical components of your ability to speak, whether it's to the media, to a big room, or to your staff, or to your activists. It's literally making sure that your voice is saying what you actually want it to say. And that's what today's session is going to be about. How we use our voice, the impact of our voice, and what we can do with our voice, and what it might be doing or actually telling people that we don't want it to. So, so today, well, first let's introduce ourselves.
Let us do that. I have got a real command center going here. So, hi everybody, my name is Vicki Rausch, Captain Vicki Rausch here at your disposal, and I'm so thrilled to be here, so thrilled about Netroots Nation, even though I don't have to say it. So I'm happy to be here, happy to see all of you here today. And, you know, I have always been a performer. I started singing solos in the church choir when I was 2. And I did my first community theater when I was 5. And I've just always been really just a really enthusiastic theater kid. Then I studied my whole life, voice performance and theater. That's what I majored in college. And I've been studying ever since. And believe me, that is a long, long time. So all of these things that I've learned about presence and using my voice and using my body, they've really served me well throughout my life. And it's so important to me that young movement leaders, young electeds, if you're running for office, whatever is your stage, an elected official, a candidate, a movement leader, maybe you run a really important nonprofit organization, whatever your stage is, we want you to be the star of that stage. And we're going to do our best to help bring out your inner theater kid today.
Thanks, Vicki. You know, I started this very differently than Vicki. I started my career just in politics, right? So first I was a movement organizer, and then I was a training director, and then suddenly I was an executive director. And that was kind of a habit that I had for a little while. I've run a number of different political organizations, and I've been on the board. I am on the board for Netroots Nation. But the through line to all of these different positions, leadership positions, organizer positions, and everything in between, has been about being able to be taken seriously. You know, me, like Vicki, like all of you, we have important things to say. And like we say all the time at Convey Communications, you deserve to be heard. So the theory behind our firm, I'm taking it from a political and, you know, sort of executive perspective. Vicki's taking it from the performer's perspective. And together we form this company, this firm called Convey Communications. And our goal, our mission at Convey is to lift up the voices of people who are changing this world. You have a vision, and people should be able to see it, they should hear it, and they should feel it. And so we have talked the last couple of years at Netroots Nation about your body language, about your abilities to tell stories. And one of the things that we haven't quite gotten to, that we are getting to today, this hour, is what we can do to make sure our literal, actual voice is heard. And the most important concept for all of this is actually, I think, summarized so clearly, so succinctly by Maya Angelou. If you can't quite see what's on the slides, she's saying, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's a huge part of our focus, whether we're talking about body language or vocal variety. You have the ability to make people not just hear your vision, but feel your vision. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
And we're going to talk about your voice, how you say things. The way you say things is really, people get in their minds perceptions of you by how you say things. Sometimes they may not quite understand how you said things. Sometimes you might say things that you didn't, in a way that you didn't mean to say them. But let's talk about intentional use of our voice right now. We're going to talk about coloring our words. The very same words can have very different meanings based on how you say them, right? Things like, oh, sure. Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Or, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? See what I mean? Completely different meanings from just a couple of words, just by how you say them. So that's what we're going to start with today. Now, here's our first little exercise, and I'm very sorry that we cannot listen to you do this and be judgy, but we're just not set up for it. So I'm counting on you to do this by yourself. Wherever you are, please read this out loud as if you are a speaker on the main stage at Netroots Nation in real life. Read it out loud. Now, read this one out loud. Now, read this one. We literally colored those words. Of all the talents bestowed upon men, none is so precious as the gift of oratory. He who enjoys it wields a power more durable than that of a great king. He is an independent force in the world, abandoned by his party, betrayed by his friends, stripped of his office. Whoever can command this power is still formidable. I know I was mugging and overacting just a bit, but my point is, you see here how we can color words and have them be effective. That, by the way, is from a speech from Winston Churchill.
Now it sounds different in your head even more, doesn't it?
It really does. I didn't want to tell you that in the first place.
Right.
But honestly, can we teach you how to change your voice so it can be used in a more effective way? Can we do that? Yes, we can. And we're going to give it a shot today.
I've been
Here's
so
an example.
busy that I haven't had really much time to think about it. After all, I know I'm still only me, and so do my family. But I'm very much aware of the responsibilities and a little bit apprehensive. Who wouldn't be when you think of the names that I follow?
Let me answer that very deeply, because I feel very strongly about it. The greatest divisions this nation has ever seen were the conflicts of trade unions towards the end of a Labour government.
So
Ooh.
there, she might have been a little small for you there, but you could really hear the difference, right? She sounded at first when she was very young in getting to be prime minister, and she sounded like she was on the porch with a little cocktail with some people. But then, after a while, after some training and knowing how important it was for her to sound commanding, she was able to train her voice to speak in a more very, very stern and commanding way. People have perceptions of you when they start listening to you. And your voice it's biases that people have, yes, but you can also steer people into a way of thinking the way you want them to by using your voice, kind of like a parent gradually getting more stern with a misbehaving child. I don't know, I don't have one, but I have a dog that fits into that category for sure. So it's very important to understand this. I don't want everybody speaking like Margaret Thatcher at all.
Or emulating her in any way, but yes.
Yeah. So it's just another example of how we say our words. It can have different meanings and different feelings altogether. In fact, it's so important, and you may see this survey cited often, is that 23% of the people who listen to a whole group of speeches named voice quality as the most important thing about the speech. Only 11% of them thought content was important. You know, other good things are being passionate and knowledge and presence, of course, but voice quality was the number one, in at 23%. Now let's ask about some responses in the same survey that were not positive. A rough or breathy voice like that. Up talk, they didn't think that was very good. And vocal fry. Yes, vocal fry. It made people feel that the speaker was unwell or unhealthy or not trustworthy or not expert. All of these things. So there are things to keep in mind when you're getting ready to make a speech or talk with a group of people about how your voice sounds. Let's listen now as I upload this video here, because I could only do one at a time. Please hold. And I'm going to go, hold on, please hold. Please hold. Netroots Nation, this is the one I want. Up it goes. I know. I should sing us something.
I do not sing.
Okay, well, I just got it. So there it is, Linda. Let's listen to some tape. And unmute him if you could.
Voices on the planet. What a joy to be spending the evening with Mr. Morgan Freeman. Everybody. Oh. Listen to that. Morgan, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hello, James. It's great to be here.
Right, is it frozen? Is there a problem with the microphone?
No, James. I'm Morgan Freeman. And when I communicate, I usually do so through deep, weighty, and profound voiceover.
Well, that's amazing. It's incredible. We can actually hear Morgan Freeman's inner thoughts.
Not exactly, James. You can hear my voiceover voice. This is where the vibrations of my warm, soothing baritone voiceover adds a certain gravity to an otherwise fleeting and ephemeral moment.
Well, what's the difference? What are your inner thoughts?
Do I have milk in the fridge? I'm not sure. I think I should pick some up on the way home.
Oh, I can see the difference. Well, listen, we cannot wait for you to come down here on the couch. We really can't.
Do I really need to?
What do you mean? Do you really need to? Do you need to come down on the couch? Yeah, you do.
Sorry. I was still thinking about milk.
Right.
Can't wait to come down there and meet you.
We can't wait either. Morgan Freeman, everybody. All right.
Okay, thank you. You can tell that Morgan Freeman has beautiful resonance. He's had lots of training for his voice as a big actor. He has nature. Nature is on his side. So, James, what's his face?
Gorman.
James is not as resonant, right? He's a comedian. He doesn't have to be as resonant. He wants to project those jokes, bad or good, to the back row. Well, Morgan Freeman doesn't have to do that because, well, he has nature and he has training, and that makes him God. So that is a sound of resonance and something we all need to work on. It's something I do in particular because when I get really excited, my voice gets a little bit higher and it gets a little more nasalier. And so I'm going to try and modulate that for the rest of the class today because I'm just so excited. Now, let's talk a little bit about science. I know people say, breathe from your diaphragm. Okay, well, let's see how that works. Let's see how good breathing works. Let's see what parts of you make up your vocal apparatus. First, you have your mask, the name, and that's your face. You've got resonators. Yes, you can. Right here in your nasal cavities, in your nostril, in your oral cavity. Great resonators. And that's these guys, right? When you're talking way up here like Janice from Friends. And how do I know I'm speaking totally out of my mask? Because when I do this, you can't hardly hear me. But now you can. And this is for projection. That gets it way across the room. Then you've got your throat area here, and that's where the magic happens. That's where your vocal folds are. That is where the sound is made with the vibrating vocal folds, just like a guitar string. And then you have your core right here. Think Oprah. When she is speaking, she speaks very much from her core, and she is very powerful. This is where the power comes from. This is where the air comes from. This is where the fuel comes from. And we're going to talk more about that in just 1 second. Where is my mouse? There we go. Oh my God. Hello, there it is.
Everything's new.
Woo! So let's look at our vocal folds. I found some really great videos, but I decided not to share them with you because they're kind of icky. But you see the vocal folds here. Those two vocal folds are vocal cords. when air comes through and you want to make a sound, they vibrate like a string, like a guitar string, and they vibrate beautiful, and they vibrate and they rub up against each other like they're petting each other. And when you're talking in a higher pitch, they get thinner, and when you're talking in a lower pitch, they get fatter, just like a string on a guitar or a piano. Okay, now what happens when you use a gravelly voice or a vocal fry, that kind of thing? Well, what happens is your vocal folds are going along, and then you get vocal fry, and then all of a sudden they're smashing together, right? They're smashing together, smash, 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 and they're hurting. They're causing pain, although your vocal folds don't have pain receptors, but they are causing damage to your vocal folds, right? Just like my hands are starting to hurt now. So when this is happening in your throat, the brain sends blood, healing blood to your vocal folds because it knows that there's damage happening. So healing blood is being sent to your vocal folds. They become engorged and full of blood. And guess what? That means they can't vibrate anymore. So they can't smash together, right? So that is what's known as laryngitis. Now, what is a cure for laryngitis? If anybody tells you to drink hot tea with lemon or whiskey or drink anything, capsicum, anything, it's not going to get anywhere near your vocal folds thanks to the epiglottis. None of that liquid or anything you're drinking is going to go down into your lungs. So what you need to do to cure laryngitis is just to stop talking. STFU, no more, till you can talk again. It's the only cure. So it's very important to take really good care of this particular organ right here if you rely on your voice, which many of us do. Now let's talk about breathing. I'm really trying to smush a bunch of stuff in here today, but this is what it looks like when we ask you to breathe from your diaphragm. This right here is your diaphragm. It's huge. It's a big muscle. It goes all the way across your body. And here it is in its resting state. When it contracts and it will lay out flat here, it will flatten out here, that causes a vacuum to be created in your lungs. You don't have to do anything to breathe. All you have to do is make that vacuum and air will come rushing in. That's what it does, even though you don't know it. Okay? So please think about this diaphragm and how much work it has to do and how much it's going to help you. And I'm going to give you some exercises to strengthen your diaphragm. We're going to teach you how to breathe. Okay? Number one, here's chest breathing, and here is what it looks like when you're diaphragmatically breathing. People tell you all the time, breathe from your belly, breathe from your stomach. You don't know how, right? They don't always tell you. So I'm going to help you feel it. It's really the only way to know is to feel it. And believe me, guys, I am in my glory right now talking about breathing because I love it and it's so important. So here is our first exercise. We are going to learn how to do lip flutters. Okay, stop typing. Please stop typing. Thank you. Not you guys, my co-host. I'm going to talk to you about lip flutters. This is my favorite vocal exercise. And let me just say, because I didn't mention this before, that it's really important to warm up before you're going to speak for any length of time. Just like if you were running or you were going swimming or exercising, anything like that. So this is a great warm-up exercise, and it also trains your diaphragm. So I hope you're all trying this at home because I can't see you. I can't hear you. But I know you're trying it along with me. And you might not be able to do it that long right now. But here's the instructions, because we're going to make these slides available to you later so you can refer to them. Relax your neck and shoulders. Take a good breath. And try and flutter your lips. Relax, relax, relax. Now, here's the trick. When you're exhaling and making that flutter sound, put your hands right below your rib cage on your stomach. And don't push in with your hands, but push out. You're going to be pushing out with your diaphragm. And to be able to do that will help you when you have a runoff sentence, or if you run out of air. A lot of people are talking in their sentence, and we don't hear the important part. So this will help you be able to keep talking all the way through your thoughts and your sentences. And it will also help make your voice clear and sound pleasant, right? Okay, so there is your lip fluttering. Did I miss one? I did. Okay, here's the other one. That was the second most easy exercise you could ever do. This is your first most easy exercise you can do. Lay down in bed. Lay down in bed, lay on your side, bring your knees slightly up, semi-fetal position, and just relax. Just relax for a few minutes. You can even try this sitting in your chair right now. Just relax. Put some thoughts out of your head and just relax and breathe comfortably. Okay, breathe quietly. Don't take any deep breaths now. Just breathe normally. And when you're laying down and you just think about it for a little while, and then put your hand on the back of your rib cage, kind of a little midway between your shoulders and your waist, while you're breathing quietly. And if you feel expansion in that area, you are doing it right. You're doing it like you did when you were a baby, when you were a little kid, before somehow, as we all do, we get lazy about things and we do it the wrong way. So when you take a nice breath, you can feel that expansion. You can feel your ribs expanding kind of outward like this, back in, rather than just your chest heaving. So I want you to take this little exercise to bed with you tonight, or maybe in the morning and every night, and just pay attention as to what is happening. Feel what's happening. Because before you know it, you could be breathing like this all the time. And it is so good for you for a number of reasons. I mean, it really is great fuel. You need to breathe to stay alive, walk around and be happy. But calm, deep breaths also affect your nerves. I know. When you're going out on stage and you might be nervous about having to speak or whatever it is you're doing, if you breathe slowly, calmly, and without a lot of effort, and you're getting good big breaths, you're going to activate your parasympathetic response in your brain. Your brain has no choice. That's how it's going to react. You can even tell yourself you're going to suck. I'm going to be terrible at this. But if you're breathing slowly and calmly, guess what? Your brain's going to say, oh no, we got it, no matter what. I'm not kidding. I'm confident in this. If, on the other hand, you're breathing fast, you're breathing fast, shallow breaths, like that sort of thing, you are going to activate your flight response, fight or flight. Your brain is just automatically going to do it. That's what activates it, those fast, shallow breaths. And you don't want to go out on stage ready to fight. That audience is not ready to fight with you, generally. You want to go out on stage and be calm. You want to be the expert. You want to be the leader. You want to be in charge. You want to be the star. So I cannot tell you how important it is to be able to breathe in a calm manner. It's going to help you more than you could ever imagine. Now, we're going to take a few questions. If you have any, type them in here right now and make them short, because when we highlight them, you won't be able to, we won't see the whole thing if you make them too loud, too long.
I saw one question.
Now.
I saw one question in the chat that we're going to address a little bit later on, but I think it's important just to bring it up now. A lot of what we've just been talking about is the biological basis for our voice, right? But then the perceptions aren't biological bases, right? The perceptions of how a person sounds are socially constructed. And in a society that has a lot of social constructs around gender, of course, how our voice sounds is also going to have a gendered component in how it's perceived. So we're going to talk about a number of these things. And remember that our goal isn't to necessarily, our goal for all of us is generally to change the world into a better place. Our goal isn't to tell you like, oh, women aren't this or men aren't that. Our goal isn't even to say necessarily you need to change who you are as a person. But what we will talk about when we talk about the sort of gendered perceptions is that there's a reason why these perceptions exist the way that they are. And when you either engage in them or resist them, that will also have an impact. And here are some tools you can use so that you sound credible, confident, calm, cool, other great traits that don't have to begin with a C sound. So we will talk about some of those things, as well as the pitfalls and tools that you can get over that. But to quickly answer the question, is there a gendered component to this? Absolutely. The same is true with body language. The same is true with even the way that we tell our stories and emote. So all of that is when we do our full sort of day-long and weekend-long and months-long trainings, we talk about that in great detail. We inquire as to why it is we feel this particular way, why it is we've gotten into this habit, what we used to do to survive, and how that might or might not help us as we thrive. So stay tuned for more.
I know I threw a lot of stuff right out there at you about breathing, my favorite thing in the world. So if there's any questions you have, let us know. We're also going to be in our video chat room from 3:15 to 4:15 every day, so you can come in and ask further questions. Talk more about voice coloration. And I made it to 1 minute from my plan. I'm so proud of me in that respect.
Good. Well, I don't see any other questions popping up, so why don't we actually move into the next part?
All right. Slides, please, lady. Okay, right. Arshad, take it away, honey.
Sure thing, sure thing. So like I said, some of the things that we do when we speak don't have the intended effect that we want. And the reasons we started doing these things might be because that's how we grew up. It might be because these are adaptations to our environment. But as our environments change, so should our adaptations. So some of the things that we talk about in terms of pitfalls are things that you might recognize in yourself, and you might inquire as to why you do that. And you might decide to keep doing it. Or you might decide, hey, I wonder if there's other tools I can use here, even if I do this. Or you might say, this is a great time for me to do another thing, to use and implement another technique. So we're going to be talking about your pacing. We're going to be talking about your tone. We'll even be talking about not talking as a tool. So let's get into some of these.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. Well, the first one here. So how many people watched Peanuts on TV? Charlie Brown? You remember what the teacher sounds like? Wah, 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 wah. Absolutely meaningless, right? This is how every teenager sees their adults, whatever sounds like. This is our sort of extreme example of monotony. And I don't think you'd be surprised, but maybe you'd be surprised by how many people who have such important things to say, it just gets lost because they're said in a monotonous tone. A monotonous tone has such little sort of outside, like additional information that we just forget about it. It has no emotional information. It has no information about how we should feel about the very important things that are being said. And usually this occurs because you, with all of your important things that you have to say, you've written them all down and you can't miss a single thing. So you have to look at your sheet and you have to break eye contact, and you have to read because you have to get everything. That is counter to how people actually absorb information. So the best way that you can avoid monotony and begin coloring your words is to avoid reading and instead speak from the heart or speak from your area of expertise. And maybe you won't hit every single point because you didn't write down every single point, but that's okay because your audience is never going to remember every single point. And if you're monotonous, they'll remember nothing. So we want you to begin to get away from your script, avoid reading, and start using all of the other tools at your disposal to really move and inspire and make your audience feel what you have to say. So the first thing we ditch is reading our notes. And here's a little secret we're adding. If you smile when you speak, you will sound more friendly. You'll sound more energetic. You're doing what Vicky mentioned earlier. You're changing the shape of your mouth and how your resonators bounce sound off of the hard parts of your mouth. So smile and you'll sound different. Here's an example of somebody who does this all wrong. His name is Payush Jindal, but he abandoned his name and calls himself Bobby. And normally, I don't care what you want to call yourself. I'm down with calling you whatever you want, but not this man. So let's roll this tape.
We need to make it easier for people to afford private coverage. We need to provide help, refundable tax credits for those that want to buy, to help people afford COBRA.
The criticism I heard from one of your fans, actually, one of your supporters, was that you talk too fast, that you had to learn to speak slower. True?
My mom has been telling me since I was a child I speak too quickly. I'm sure when she watches this show, she'll say, you should have slowed down. You know, you should have slowed down. The reality is, there are certain things you know in the back of your mind you shouldn't do them or you should do them, and I speak the way I speak. It's kind of like an accent. You have it. You can't not do it. It's just how you are.
But is your brain running faster than your mouth or the other way around?
Oh, I hope the brain's running faster. Politicians get in trouble when their mouths run too fast.
That's enough of that, man.
That's enough.
The point is, aside from finding the most arrogant example we could, the point is that when you're talking too fast, you make it difficult for other people to understand you. You're making assumptions about their ability to listen and to hear. And so when you're talking too quickly, it may be because you're nervous. It may be because that's how you grew up. But you have the power to be heard. That power rests in part in how your audience hears you. So when you speak too quickly, you're doing a disservice to everybody, and particularly those who are harder of hearing than others. You're making assumptions about other people. So this is one of the things that we do ask our clients to practice and to change because it is unfair. And this isn't just people who are hard of hearing. A study out of Berkeley came out years ago that said that we can talk much faster than people can listen, comprehend / listen. And so if we slow down a little bit, if we pause, which is another tool we'll use, we can help everyone really actually truly get what it is that we have to say. So one of the first pitfalls that we tell people, even if you're nervous, is to practice speaking at a level that everybody will be able to absorb everything that you say. Here's another one, and this one comes up all the time for our clients. So to be clear, Convey Communications works specifically with women, people of color, and LGBTQ leaders. That is what we do. So every now and then a white dude sneaks in a group or whatever. Can't always help it. But so this is a conversation that comes up frequently, a discussion that we will have with our clients. Well, first of all, what is uptalk? Uptalk is a tendency to make a statement, something that you're saying, in the way that we're normally used to hearing a question in American English. So it would be like saying, I'm making a statement. Hi, my name is Arshad Hassan. And instead saying it like this. Hi, my name is Arshad Hassan. I'm the principal at Convey Communications. It has the sort of like the vocal, it's a vocal equivalent of asking a question when we mean to make a statement. So when we just mentioned earlier that there's a gendered component to the way people perceive our voices, This is one of those things that gets wrapped up. And it's not always what you think it is. There's nothing inherent for the community of people, generally women, people who identify as women, LGBTQ people, and young people. There's not a biological basis to uptalk in American English. In fact, other forms of English don't have this necessarily. It is something that people who are not allowed to take up very much space start adapting to, so that when they have something to say, they don't step on too many toes or get in too much way or take up space that is not theirs. You learn this probably from school. When you had to raise your hand to answer a question, even though the boys in the back could just shout out an answer. This might have served you because as a child or when you're younger, you don't want to take up the space that you don't believe that you own. But when you're on a stage or when you have an interview, you are the expert. You know what is true. You can make declarative statements because you know them to be true. You can make imperative statements because you need others to act. So we ask people to really consider how uptalk affects their speech. I don't care what you do at brunch, but if you're telling people to act or to move, if you're telling people what's right, if you're telling people the truth about the matter, you want to make sure that they know that you are certain about it and they need to be certain about it. So what are we supposed to do with this? We have a tool coming up in a second that will help you land and add weight to your statements, to your words. It is the damn it rule. The damn it rule is actually a tool that we use to fix a lot of different things that we frequently hear in our clients. So uptalk is one of them. Running out of breath. Remember how Vicky was talking about how important it is to breathe? If you run out of breath, you'll make her cry. We don't want that to happen. And then sentences drop off or sentences that run off. That's sort of like saying, instead of saying, hi, my name is Arshad, I'm a principal at Convey Communications. Instead, it'd be like saying, hi, my name is Arshad, I'm a principal at Convey Communications. You do this, you all do this, I know, because you have so many things to say, you already are thinking about the next thing that you want to say. And so you just kind of abandon the sentence. The damn it rule is the way that we fix that. Here's what it is. We're going to share it with you now. The damn it rule is like saying damn it at the end of your sentence. So let's go back to that sentence, my introductory sentence. Hi, my name is Arshad. I'm a principal at Convey Communications. Now you can't say that if you say damn it, right? Hi, my name is Arshad Hassan, damn it. I'm the principal at Convey Communications, damn it. Now, don't actually say damn it. I mean, it's dependent on your context, go ahead, whatever. But I want you to think about when you have something important to say, which are so many things, when you have something important to say and you need the world to hear it and you need them to know that it's important to you. And then you say, we need to raise the minimum wage, damn it. Not, we need to raise the minimum wage. It's been really low for a long time. So damn it gives the words, the information, particularly at the end of your sentence, instead of losing it or questioning it, you are reinforcing it. You're giving it weight. So start thinking about that. Start using the damn it rule. This is where we'd usually practice. We practice saying your name with damn it at the end of it. So go ahead and do that at home if you like. Hi, my name's Arshad Hassan, damn it. And that'll help you out.
It will indeed. And please don't make me cry. Thank you.
Right. I would like to share with you one of the most powerful tools we have in our speech.
It really makes your voice powerful.
And that is the art of the pause. The use of silence, just small breaks in your speech, whether it's an interview or a keynote or just a meeting with your staff or activists. The use of a pause to just slow yourself down, take a breath, and let the words land will add so much weight, credence, and credibility to whatever it is that you just said and or whatever it is you're about to say. We actually have a client who is a burlesque dancer. That's what she does on the side. She raises money. But on the side, she's a burlesque dancer. And she got this right away. Because for her, when she performs, for her, it's the art of the tease. If you've ever seen a burlesque show, you know that that is a big piece of the performance. And this is the tease of our speaking. Remember how I said that we often talk faster than people can hear? The pause is important for your audience because it gives them a moment to breathe. It gives them a moment to sort of let the words sink in. And it gives you a moment to pause. It gives you a moment to breathe. And it is also your underliner, your highlighter pen. It is the tool that you can use to transition. But what I see so often, what people do instead of using strategic pausing like this, is that they have so much to say, they have to cram it all in, that they don't have room to breathe, much less to give a pause. When we do that, when we get monotonous, we cram everything in, we don't pause between our sentences, we drop off the ends of our words, the audience simply can't absorb everything that you have to say. So as hard as you worked to put everything onto that piece of paper, everything into that speech, it just doesn't land. You may as well have not given it. Or better, you may as well have given half that speech and had it all land. So we advise people, whenever you have a 5-minute speech, don't plan 5 minutes of speaking. Instead, plan 4.5, maybe 4. Cut out big things. Probably when you have a 5-minute speech, you wrote down a 10-minute speech. Cut it in half and cut it some more. Make sure you have room for pauses. Choreograph your speech with pauses, with damn it's, with time to really emphasize what you have to say.
It's a great rule. And Anita, when I see you in person next year, I want you to run up to me and say, "I'm Anita Jackson, damn it." That's what I want all of you to do.
Yes.
Well, it will be our little private joke, and I will love it. And then I will for sure cry. But
I also love Sadie's comment over here. I'm going to speak it for everybody.
Yeah.
I got to find it again. Ooh, that added power to my name.
Yes, that's the idea.
Yes.
That is the whole idea.
Absolutely.
Love
Okay.
Okay, damn it and pause, the 2 takeaways. So we're talking about coloring our words again, right? And the cookies and cream is a little exercise we're all going to do. And again, I cannot be judgy, so that makes me cry a little bit, but it's something we're going to try. And Arshad and I are going to try it on each other, and you can do it yourself at home. So we're going to speak part of the sentence, and then the last part would be your let's see, my shirt is blue. Then what we would say is, my shirt is, and then you would use the phrase cookies and cream instead of the word blue to describe the feeling of my shirt. My shirt is cookies and cream, comfortable, it's soft, whatever. So here's how that is going to work.
Yeah, so just to re-emphasize or say another way.
Keep me on that one.
We're using a nonsense phrase, cookies and cream, but all the sense in the phrase is going to be how we say it. So the words are meaningless. It's the tone, the tenor, the pace, the pausing, the emotion, the feeling. It's just going to be the words, cookies and cream.
Arshad, when Netroots Nation 22 is in person, I'm gonna cookies and cream. I have a feeling that everybody at their seats, I hope you're doing this. When Netroots Nation 2022 is in person, you're going to, oh my God, I could almost hear everybody just now. So that is one. And now let's try one more.
Vicky, the weather outside today is?
Cookies and cream.
Oh, hot and muggy.
It is hot. It is 90 degrees here. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's cookies and cream.
Could y'all see that at home or hear that at home? The word cookies and cream has nothing to do with temperature, but you could hear it in her voice. The words are meaningless, but the tone had all the meaning.
Yep. And body language too, but
yes,
all fair game. So everybody try it yourself. The weather outside today is
Cookies and cream.
good. Excellent. I am just dying for interaction.
I know, me too.
So we're winding up before we get to some questions, and I'll bet you're going to have some questions now. When all is said and done, be conversational. Be as conversational as you can. You know, it's not quite pillow talk, but you know, you want to be friendly. You want to be seen as competent and an expert. And you don't get that way by being confrontational or by being not taking up enough space, any of that. We want you to be the star on whatever stage it is you are on. And this is just, believe it or not, one teeny tiny part of it. My favorite part, of course, but it's just a tiny part of it and just a little taste of what we do. So watch your pacing, watch your breathing, smile when it's at all possible. Take a big breath, take a pause, and go fucking change the world.
Damn it.
Damn it. Remember, people will never remember that beautiful speech you stayed up writing night after night after night. They'll not remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. Any questions? And before we start, and we'll take this slide down, video chat room, 3:15 to 4:15 every day, including today, but I'll be having wine today for sure. And please come and visit us and chat and talk. We'll talk about whatever, but it'll just be great to see anybody and everybody. So just let me get that out before we start some questions. And so type them in the chat, and Linda will. Thank you, Linda, our room hostess, official Netroots Nation, and our own personal hostess. And put something in the chat, and Linda will highlight it for us, and we can talk about it.
Absolutely. I want to thank you all. We don't have to leave. We still have 10 minutes. I want to thank you all. This is hard for us to do because, well, we can't be with you, and we love doing practice as part of our trainings. And because our trainings are never 50 minutes long. When we work with our folks, we'll spend 2 days in a row. We'll spend, or now when it's remote, we'll spend like 90 minutes a week for 10 weeks long. So this is just a little taste of what we do. We also do body language and media training and storytelling and all of the ways that we get your vision out there, all the ways that we can change the world. Today, we're focusing just on what our voice does, how people perceive it, how it's wrapped up in all kinds of social meaning that maybe you didn't even ask for, but it's a part of how we communicate. So please come at us with our questions. Oh gosh, look at this.
I know.
All right. Sorry, I didn't realize how that was going to work. Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you, Linda. This looks fancy now.
I know, we're so professional.
Yeah. Oh, the not reading from a script question. I knew that was going to come.
It always comes up.
Because we use those scripts as a thing to kind of lean against, rather than sort of developing our own sort of structure and support that is internal to ourselves. So that may be different for different people, but a few things I have to suggest for you, and some of them are going to be easy, and some of them are just going to be in your mind, right? Which is to say, not easy. First, I personally do go to bullet points, but bullet points aren't useful for me unless I have a good amount of practice ahead of time. So if you've been to Netroots before, I've given keynote speeches, or I've moderated, or I've introduced big names. And so you'll often see me backstage. Well, you won't see me people will see me backstage. And I will be there pacing back and forth. I might say hellos to all the other important people, but I'm usually sort of pacing back and forth or talking straight into a wall and practicing. So I might stay up and write a speech, but even when I practice, I boiled it down to bullet points. And outside of the bullet points, I'll often have key quotes or key facts or important citations, depending on the kind of speech. Those might be verbatim. But my goal is to leave those behind too. So one of those things is just to practice. I've given enough extemporaneous speeches to know that that's not always possible. So the next tip I have for you for this, the next technique is to, and this is a breathing technique, but it's going to go right next to the next thing, is make sure that you are holding yourself with confidence and giving your whole body the column of air it needs to breathe. You can do that by standing strong, standing straight, and breathing well before you speak. What does this have to do with memorizing? It's this. We get up all in our heads and thinking that we have to have the exact right thing to say. Because often what you're used to doing is you're used to practicing with a speech, which means you're focusing entirely on the words, getting this exact specific word right. And that's backwards. That's actually the last thing I want you to focus on. When we advise people to write speeches, on their speech writing, we first ask, what is it the audience needs to feel by the end of this? Then it's, what is the audience feeling throughout this? And then it's, what did you do to catch the audience's attention? They're not words that we're talking about. They're feelings. So our obsession with getting the speech right is a distraction from doing right by our audience. So for me, and this is a mindset thing. So for me, I don't have to get the words right. I do not. I have to look at my audience. I have to vibe with my audience, and however we're going to do it in this crazy world, and make sure I'm leading them in the right path. Now, some things are particularly important to say, and there's the kind of messaging that is better than other messaging. Embrace this, reject that. We can't say certain things. Absolutely. All of that is super important. You'll get that through practicing. But the big tip is be comfortable up there. Appear confident and you will become confident. And know that what you're doing is you're guiding the audience on a journey that is emotional and not just words.
I see tips on filler words. Let me get that for 1 second, because we actually, Judy and Vivine, I hope I'm saying that right. We already covered that actually without maybe you even knowing it. We talked about pausing. Instead of saying or looking up at the ceiling or looking down on the floor, because no answers are down there. Pause for a second. You get to regroup yourself. You get to take a breath and then go from there. So the quickest way we can address this right now is to pause.
Yeah, I'm glad you pulled that out, Vicki, because just a few of these people, our audience have that question. Pausing, I'm not ums and ahs and so's and this kind of stuff. I'm not really upset at hearing them, because I know what it really is a symptom. Excuse me, it's a symptom of a different problem.
Hydrate.
I got mine too. It's a symptom of you getting in your head about the next words and then they're just not coming up. Or it's a symptom of you thinking about the next thing. Or it could be a symptom of you've triggered your fight or flight response. All of these things require that you pause for a second for your own self. So I don't get mad at the ums and ahs, because that's not the problem. Anyone who teaches you, I used to do competitive speech as well when I was a kid. And some coaches would throw a coin into a tin can every time there's an or an ah. And that's the worst, because that's making you more nervous, which just reinforces your fight or flight response. When you want the opposite, what you really want to do is just stop and breathe. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. And no one knows what it is that you're supposed to say. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there, right? So if you just pause for a second, it sounds like what you just said was really important, and you're waiting for everybody to follow along, to catch up. So they don't know that you've forgotten the thing. Just pause and it'll click back. 9 out of 10 times it'll click back. Think of it like riding a bike and the gears have changed and they've just changed right back. That's it. You just need the time for that little to catch.
Linda, if you could put my slide back up. I want to address something with Kimberly real quick. Kimberly, you said you're hearing that expand on the bullet points, not the script. Well, yes, and you can write out your whole script, record it, start making cuts, and you can color all your words and do this, because what am I seeing here? I'm not just seeing words, I'm seeing colors, I'm seeing emotions.
Yeah.
How you're going to make people feel by emphasizing a word in a certain way. So you can do whatever works best for you. You can write out a whole script, but keep recording yourself and coming back and criticizing yourself, giving yourself a good critique. You're probably going to cut a big part. You might have forgotten something you want to add in. But if you do this, you literally get emotion from looking at that piece of paper.
And that gets us back to, what is it that we want the audience to feel? We don't want them to feel words. We want them to feel this color. I think one of the problems that a lot of people have when they're writing speeches and trying to remember them is that we don't all learn through memorization of words. There's so many other ways that we learn. And when we say we want you to choreograph your speech, not write your speech, that incorporates so much more of our brain and so many different ways of engaging. You may be having difficulty memorizing because memorizing is not how you learn. And that gives you anxiety for speaking because you've relied on memorization, when really, I want you to rely on connection and feeling. Oh crap, are we out? Are we out of time?
Oh, we're overtime. Oh my gosh. Linda, how much time is left? We're done. They're going to cut us off shortly. So come to our room, our video chat room.
Yes.
I can't wait to see you, and bring a glass of wine. We'll talk.
Absolutely. I see all these questions. We'll get to your questions if you come to our video chat 3 times.
Or email us at hello@conveycoms.com. If anybody wants to type that in there real quick. hello@conveycoms.com. Or message us in the app, or there's a million ways you can get us. We are not hard to find. So thank you. Mwah!
I wish I could see you.
I know, me too. Bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll be in the chat room shortly.